everyone, today's video is going to be my June palette roundup. You guys love these videos so much. I will of course leave my palette roundup series linked down below. Or not series, it's a playlist. It sounds cooler when you say series. In these videos, I showcase all of the palettes I have used in the previous month. I also show you guys all the looks that I have done in the previous month. And to top it all off, I kind of rank them based off of usage, and you guys really enjoy these videos. I enjoy making them. It's a win-win situation for everyone all the way around. Today is July 1st as I am filming this. Not so certain when things are going up. Moving over to the side, because of course I'm going to be putting up my photos from the last month. So over the month of June, I wore makeup 26 days. I used 18 different palettes, and I had 4 new palettes in the month of June, which was quite a bit. In the month of June, I had 9 palettes that I have used once, and within these 9, I kind of just go off of alphabetical order, going backwards, because that's how they're listed in my notes. So my first palette here is the What's Up Beauty Geodes. This was a super simple, super easy, everyday appropriate look. This is such an amazing palette. All I did for this look was I used this brown in the crease, and then I used this yellow in the inner corner. That's all I did. It was super quick, it was super easy. On to the next one. I told you guys last month the story about this Unearthly palette, so make sure you go check out the playlist to see last month's video. But I only used it once. I wanted to use it again, and this look I incorporated the pinks and the greens. So I did use, I think at this point, I think I used every single shade or all of them except for this red color. Look was pretty nice. A lot of you guys really liked when my hair was down. I have an issue with keeping my hair down for long periods of time. I struggle with it greatly, and I enjoyed this look, but my hair did go up immediately after this photo. This one will not have a photo because it was done using my Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels, and I did this look in a video. I will link the video down below, but it is the video about the Sydney Grace sale. By the time you see this video, the sale is probably already over, but it hasn't even started yet. And so I did entire recommendation, sale info, all of that, and I did a get ready with me throughout the entire thing. So I used this palette to create a look, and I was gifted this palette from my friend DW here on YouTube. Her channel name is Dub's Beauty Diary. I will leave her link down below. But she gifted me this palette. Another palette that DW was involved with. She didn't gift this palette, but it was doing a collab with DW, Andie from Makeup in the Mundane. They created, both of them created the Bingo of Shame. The Bingo of Shame palette for this past month was Odin's Eye Planet Spirit, and I did an entire video on this. I did a palette bingo. It was an interesting look to say for sure, but I will leave that one linked down below as well. Another video that links down below, I did do a video with Andie from Makeup in the Mundane. I'll leave her, of course, linked down below. But we used the Natasha Nona My Dream palette, and she asked me to go dark, smoky, and I did do that. So if you want to watch me do a dark and smoky look with shades that were not chosen by me, then I recommend you go down and watch that video. Okay, I promise you'll see a look this time. I used my M81, the Golden Ratio palette. If you guys follow M81, she is releasing a cake palette. I don't remember the exact name of it, but I have always told you that I love Megan and I support this brand. I am not going to be purchasing the palette just because of color preferences. There's a lot of light shades, and all of the shimmers are quite dark except for one. For me, it is not a perfect palette, so I will not be picking that one up, but I love the Golden Ratio palette. As you can see, I still keep all my little white discs, but I did do an entire video on M81 with swatches and everything on this palette. All I did for this look is I used the light brown shade, and I used the shade 1.618. all over the lid and a green eyeliner. It was a stunning look. I've been really enjoying these like two and done sort of looks, obviously. I pulled out my Fantasy Cosmetica Wizard palette. Look at that packaging. It is so pretty. Every single time I look at it, it makes me so happy. I did a blue look, popped a little bit of yellow, I believe, in the inner corner, but really enjoyed this palette. You know, you kind of get a one-noted look. You get blue, maybe pop a yellow, but I really do enjoy this look. Love using this when I'm wearing more of a cobalt blue shirt. This one was fun. I need to pull out my BH Mimosa palette a lot more, and I don't know if this is the one where I hit pan and champagne or not. My next shade I'm trying to hit pan on is Bubbly. That would be like my next focus shade, because other than that, I don't think any of the mattes have anywhere near the dip that they need to be. This is such a fun and cute summer palette, and I created a very, very springy, summery, like peachy sort of look. Love using this in the summertime. Definitely need to use it more often. Brought out my Beauty Bay Brights palette. You will not be seeing a photo with this because I did an entire video. The video was my throwback transformation video where I went back and I found an old look that I did in like 2018 and I recreated it using updated techniques, palettes, things of that nature. We used a lot of color in that video, so if you're enjoying color, link is down below, but this is a beautiful palette, another gift from Dove's Beauty Diary. Now we are getting into the 8 palettes that I used twice, one of which was Snow Angel. This is one that I believe I got into my collection last month. They did a Memorial Day sale, and like, look at this palette. So with this palette, I did a really nice cool toned bluish green sort of look. Really enjoy these types of cooler tones, really enjoy this one. And then the other look I did was very cotton candy-esque. So I used the pinks in the inner portion of the lid, blues in the outer portion of the lid, and like whatever shade I put on my lid, it looked beautiful and stunning. Love this palette. Out of my 4 new palettes, 3 of them were used twice. So I'm going to talk about all 3 of these together. These are the Nomad 10-year anniversary palettes. So we have Berlin Underground, or someone actually said how it's not underground, it's untergird. I don't know. Someone said it was not underground, but I'm still gonna call it underground. Fête de Provence, something. I know Steph DeFranco is going to yell at me in the comments. And then we have America's Parks. I can pronounce this one. I did use all 3 of these twice. I've been wanting to, I made sure I did use every one twice this month. So the first one we're going to talk about is the one I cannot pronounce. This one is beautiful. Look how cute and springy this is. And of course, you see this little guy? Do you see the bee? Of course, I needed it. Anyway, the look I did with this is a look that I can do with that Mimosa palette. Peaches in the outer corner and oranges in, or this is kind of orangey yellows in the inner portion, a gold all over the lid. Super pretty summery look. This look though that I did, really enjoyed this one. I just really wanted to play with color. I wanted to play with makeup. I did the tape trick again. And now that I'm looking at the video, the tape is way out of angle for both eyes. But I did the dark smoky purples on the outer corner, and I used these pinks on the inner corner. Loved this look, and a lot of you guys seem to really enjoy it as well. And this palette's just super cute. I would love to make more looks with this palette, but it is only got used twice this month. Next one is the Nomad America's Parks. My first look I'm not going to show you. I did an entire video making a look with this palette, and honestly that was probably one of my favorite looks of the entire month that I did in that video. It was where in a previous video I have stated how I kind of predicted that this palette was coming back. I knew nothing about this palette coming back, and this palette was the reason why I know Nomad existed, and I needed to have this palette. I also bought all 3 of these palettes when I started my new job, so I felt it was justified, you know what I mean? But really pretty palette here. And then my last look I did, I believe yesterday, it was like grungy mustard. What is the grungier looking mustard? I don't eat mustard. I don't like mustard. I have started getting a little bit into mustard with club sandwiches, like when I go to McAllister's and I get a club, which I always get a club, and I keep the mustard on it. It just adds a little tang to it, but I am not a mustard on any other sort of thing. What I used in this look was, I of course used this yellow shade all over the crease and everything. I used this brown shade on the outer corner. Then I used, I believe, I used this shade. It looks kind of green, and then it looks kind of a bronzy sort of shade. It's super unique. Like, I look at it certain ways it's green and other ways it's not. Put that on most of the lid, and then of course I put this shade here on the inner lid. It was beautiful. I loved that look, and I thought it was super unique in tones. Really enjoyed this palette. And the one I wasn't expecting to like so much, the Berlin Underground. Really enjoy. I don't remember the shades I used, but this one was a really smoky, cooler toned look. I have no complaints. Really enjoy it. And this next one, I went surprisingly green. You can go green. My next look I want to do is like with these burnt, rusty colors. You know what I mean? Like, that's the next look I really want to do with this palette. But I definitely used the green matte. I think that was a great addition, but I feel like it is too similar to it being like America's Parks. If you added this green, and you know, you have some of these like dingier tones that are also in the America's Parks palette. So I feel like, I don't know, I probably would have changed this palette a little differently. I did use one other Nomad palette. I brought out my Route 66. I got this in PR a few months ago, and I just felt like I needed to use it. When I use this palette, or when I think of this palette, I'm thinking of these like peachy neutrals over here, the mattes anyway. Like, I don't know, I don't really think of this side of the palette. This look I did, so easy and simple. I think I really only used like 2 or 3 shades for this. And of course, this shade is my favorite shade in the entire palette. I do need to reach for this and try and use more of these, like what they call neon shades, because I haven't really used them much. I don't know, they're not, I know that's supposed to be like a main portion of the palette, but I don't know, I could really take or leave it. Like, I've been more or less focusing on everything around the palette and less into these. I have no clue. Then the other day, I had this like strong urge to use a red shimmer, and I thought of this red shimmer, so I did an entire look with that. And this one is so interesting because it looks like a champagne. When you pair it with more of the blues and the greens, it turns a little bit silver. You pair it with some of these warmer tones, it turns a little bit gold. Like, in this look, it doesn't look like I put that shade on the lid, but I did. And I really enjoyed this palette. And I appreciate Nomad for sending it to me. I took out my Natasha Nona Love palette. I received this from my friend Jen. She is such a freaking sweetheart, and I love her so much. Her comments on my videos, her videos are really funny. She's really witty, but she sent this to me, and I greatly appreciate that. And I think there's a fly or something. Anyway, when I first got this palette, I feel like I did not give it enough love, so I did use it twice this month. This first look, honest to God, not a fan. I did not enjoy this look. I think most of it was my lack of eyeliner. I feel like I need eyeliner for me to really complete my look. Do you know how some people have, like, I can't complete my look without fake eyelashes. I cannot complete it without like a chunky black wing like I do today. I feel naked without a black wing, so that's probably why I don't like it. I do love this look though. I don't remember what shades I used. It's like a sultry, rusty, cranberry situation. And I don't know what the hell I did. And that was my dog that moved my tripod. Don't know what I did. But it's stunning and beautiful. And thank you, Jen, for sending this to me. And you're so incredibly kind. And my dog keeps trying to throw toys at me. He struggles with playing by himself. And I don't know if that's my fault or just the way he is. I have no clue. But the second to last palette that got used twice was my little Kaja Palette trio. I used this once in that look for the Natasha Nona, and my goal was to hit pan, and I did do that. So I used the first shade and first shade only for the lid of this look, and then I used the entire thing on its own and by itself for the second look. And I think it is so cute and precious. Like for travel, like this is such a good palette to have. For this look, you know, you set up most of it with this. I used this to blend it out. Like it wasn't that hard, and I think the first shade just makes the entire lid look wet. And I love when a shimmer can make an eyelid look wet. Like today's look, I feel like my eyelid kind of gives that vibe off. So this is in smolder season. They may or may not have this shade on Sephora or on their website. Last palette that I used twice was my Blend Bunny Dollhouse palette. This has been a workhorse palette throughout the entire year. This look that I did, I think I used everything in this purple row except for the blue. I feel like the blue is a little thrown off. I don't believe the blue belongs in this palette at all. I feel like I've used that blue once, maybe twice, but I feel like that blue is a little out of place. I use the shade Pretend, I'm pretty sure. It has that pink iridescence to it. I'm pretty sure I put that all over the lid. And then this also got featured in my throwback transformation video, linked down below, and this was the lid shade. Can you imagine what shade that was in the palette? The last and final palette in today's video got 3 uses, and this palette was given to me by a friend off of Instagram. She sent me my vintage Glam palette remixed because she saw my video of me saying I'd want to try this palette, and Gloss Gods was one of those brands I really wanted to try, and I definitely wanted to try it. This is a K palette. All 3 of these looks were definitely a look that I was going to do. I did a pink look. I wore this to a wedding reception. It was like, it's kind of a wedding reception, more of a huge ass bonfire thing. So it wasn't really a wedding reception, not really. That's how you do it in the depths of PA. But did a beautiful pink look with this. No regrets there. That is Shiloh's toy. I did more of a purple look with this palette. Also really enjoy this one. I feel like you got 3 modes. You have pink, purple, and then this last mode, which is neutral. And I did use, I don't know if I used all of the ones up here. I think I used most of them though. This is the last look, and I really enjoyed that look. I don't know if you could tell, but there was quite a lot of more simpler eyeshadow looks this month. A few oddballs here and there that took a little bit more effort. But like even today, like today was a simple and easy look. That's just been my go-to. Again, throughout the entire month, I wore makeup 26 days. I used 18 different palettes. I had 4 new palettes come into my collection. That was the gift from the IG friend, and it was also those 3 Nomad palettes I bought with my own personal money. I had 1 palette get used 3 times, I had 8 palettes get used twice, and I had 9 palettes used once. I feel like those numbers are pretty good. I like to get nice, good use out of my palette collection. If you enjoyed today's video and want to see more like it, playlist is linked down below. If you enjoy me and want to expand my YouTube community here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend if you think they would like this too. Do you want to see the dog? Will the dog make you subscribe? Here is the pooch. I'm covering up his thing. But here's my pooch. Here he is. Since I showed you my pooch, will you subscribe? I hope so. I love and appreciate you guys so much, and I shall see you guys next time.